In 1600, a group of British merchants sailed to India not with an army but with a trading license. 300 years later, they had taken everything: the land, the wealth, the identity of an entire civilization. But history has a sense of irony. What if I told you that the same land that once ruled, exploited, and controlled is now quietly buying back pieces of the world that once owned it? This is not a revenge. This is not war. This is something far more powerful. This is economic comeback. The British East India Company arrived on India's shore in 1608. At the time, India produced nearly 25% of the world's entire GDP. It was the richest civilization on earth. The company didn't conquer India in a day. It did it slowly through trade monopolies, political manipulation, and strategic alliances with local rulers who didn't realize they were being used. By 1858, the British Crown had taken direct control. The Indian industries were dismantled. Its weavers were left without work. Its raw materials were shipped back to England, turned into finished goods, and sold back to Indians at a profit. For nearly 200 years, wealth flowed in one direction, outward. Economists estimate that Britain extracted $45 trillion from India during colonial rule. After independence in 1947, India was poor, broken, and rebuilding from scratch. For decades, world wrote India off, a developing nation, a place of potential, always just out of reach. Then something changed. The Indian families, the Tatas, the Mittals, the Ambanis, had been quietly building empires at home, and in the 2000s, they looked up from their boardrooms and they saw something remarkable. The companies that had once ruled them were now for sale. Tetley Tea, founded in 1837, the Britain's most beloved tea brand. Tetley was the company that invented the tea bag itself in 1953. When Tata Tea acquired Tetley in 2004 $407 million, it was India's largest overseas acquisition at that time. At the time, Tetley was twice the size of Tata Tea. Analysts called it audacious. What made it symbolically explosive? India had been supplying the leaves, now India owned the brand. After acquiring Tetley, Tata didn't stop. They bought 8 O'Clock Coffee, founded in 1859, and one of the America's oldest grocery coffee brands, for $220 million. They also picked up Good Earth Tea, Jamka, and Vitax, transforming from a tea plantation company into Tata Consumer Products, a global beverages giant. The vision owned the morning ritual of people across the world, from the tea drinker in London to the coffee drinker in New York. Corus Steel, formed from the merger of British Steel and Dutch Hoogevens, the Anglo-Dutch steel giant. It was the steel of European infrastructure, bridges, railways, buildings. The Tata Steel put a bid so large that it shocked the markets. There was a rival bidder, Brazil CSN, and it turned into a bidding war. Tata kept raising its offer, and at $12 billion, it was the biggest overseas acquisition by a company at the time. Overnight, Tata Steel became the world's fifth largest steel producer. The steel that had been used to build the empire's infrastructure was now under Indian ownership. Ford had bought Jaguar in 1989 and Land Rover in 2000, the icons of British luxury. But by 2008, both were bleeding money and Ford wandered out. Tata Motors, a company that had just launched Nano, the world's cheapest car, stepped in to buy the world's most prestigious British car brands for a $2.3 billion. British workers were terrified. Would an Indian company understand what made these brands British? Would they gut the factories? What happened next was the opposite. Tata invested heavily, launched new models, and turned GLR into a highly profitable global luxury brand. Today, JLR contributes more than 80% of the Tata Motors profit. The student had become the master. In 2025, Tata Motors announced its most significant global expansion since the Jaguar Land Rover deal by acquiring the commercial vehicle business of Italian giant Iveco Group for approximately $4.5 billion. The strategic move provides Tata Motors with a powerful entry into Europe and other global markets, blending Iveco's advanced engineering and established distribution network with its own strength to create a new industry powerhouse. Hamleys on Regent Street, London is not just a toy shop, it is a 260-year-old institution, a tourist destination that receives 5 million visitors a year. Founded in 1760, before the American Revolution, before the French Revolution, before India's independence movement even began. When Reliance acquired it from Chinese owners in 2019 for £68 million, the Ambanis declared it put Reliance into the front line of global retail. The symbolism the symbolism is almost cinematic. One of the London's most cherished landmarks now owned by the richest man in Asia. Stoke Park is one of Britain's most exclusive luxury estates, a hotel, golf course, and a sports complex in Buckinghamshire with over 900 years of recorded history. It is where James Bond played golf against Goldfinger in 1964 film. Ambani's Reliance bought it for £57 million in 2021, not as a holiday home, but as a strategic acquisition in luxury hospitality, combined with Reliance's stake in Oberoi Hotels and its expanding consumer portfolio. This signals a clear ambition to own the high end of global hospitality experience. There's a say in London when high-end properties are in for sale, they first contact the Indians to buy it, as there is a growing demand for luxury properties in London for Indians. Asler, Europe's steel crown jewel. This was the most dramatic corporate battle of 2000s. Asler was formed from three of the Europe's greatest national steel companies, Luxembourg's Arbor, Spain's Aceleria, and France's Usnier. It was steel royalty when Lakshmi Mittal launched a hostile takeover bid in January 2006. The French, Luxembourg, and Spanish government publicly opposed it. Asler's CEO called Mittal's company full of holes like Swiss cheese. There were allegations of racism in the opposition. European governments trying to block an Indian businessman from owning their industrial heritage. Ashler tried a white knight strategy with a Russian steelmaker. It employed every defensive tactic, and yet Mittal raised his bid from $22.7 billion to $38.3 billion and won the shareholders and prevailed. Combined ArcelorMittal The combined ArcelorMittal controlled 10% of world's steel production. Pininfarina is not just a design firm, it is arguably the most influential automobile design house in history. The Ferrari 458, the Ferrari Testarossa, the Alfa Romeo Spider, and some of the most beautiful machines ever built came from Pininfarina studios in Turin. When Mahindra acquired a 76% controlling stake in 2015 for £168 million, it sent shockwaves through the Italian automobile world. An Indian company, one that makes tractors and SUV for Indian farmers and city dwellers, now owned design heritage of Ferrari, the house that shaped beauty now belonging to Mumbai. Peugeot Motors is France's oldest motorcycle brand, tracing its roots to 1882. The 130 years of European heritage. Mahindra acquired a 51% controlling stake in 2014 and then 100% by 2019. It was a quiet acquisition that barely made headlines in India, but it meant that one of Europe's most storied two-wheeler brands was now controlled from Mumbai. This is a part of Mahindra's larger pattern, finding iconic but struggling Western brands, acquiring them, and leveraging the global distribution network and engineering depth that Mahindra has built over decades. Novelis is not a household name, but it touches almost everyone's life. It produces the aluminum used in Coca-Cola cans, BMW car bodies, Apple product casings, and Red Bull cans. It was spun out of Alcan and had operations across USA, Brazil, Germany, Italy, South Korea, and India. Hindalco, part of Aditya Birla Group, acquired Novelis in 2007 for $6 billion, making it one of the largest Indian overseas acquisitions at the time. Overnight, an Indian company became the world's largest rolled aluminium producer. Every time you crack open a Coke, there's a small chance that you are holding a product made by an Indian company. None of these companies marched in with armies. There were no flags planted, no territories seized, just balance sheets, board meetings, and billion-dollar checks. But look at the map of what India now owns: the world's oldest toy store, the steel of Europe's railways, the design house behind Ferrari, the aluminium in your Coca Cola can, the car brand that defines British luxury. This is capitalism. This is globalization. But it carries a deeper meaning. For the first time in centuries, the capital is flowing the other way, from east to west.